the angels take charge or take care of humans. There's that verse in one of the Gospels.
Yeah, maybe we have an assigned angel.
Yeah, with the same name. It's like, oh, that's Caleb's angel up there.
Yeah.
We'll call him Caleb's angel.
That dude needs to do a better job. I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Welcome to Stuff That We Like / Enjoy, at least at this point in time. I'm Caleb.
And I'm Christina. And today I'm going to be asking Caleb, what is something that you like / enjoy?
It's so funny. I looked at you so you could start the episode, but then I forgot I have to ask you, what's your contentment level?
My contentment
right
level. 7.
7's good.
Yeah.
7? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because I've been bustling and busy all morning and just now sat down. But once I have some of my chai, I'm sure to go up to an 8 and chat with you. So.
Okay. 7's still so high.
That's not really. I don't know.
7
That's middling.
out of 10?
It's middling.
I guess technically.
Yeah.
But that's really good.
It's like a D. No, a C. Yeah, it's a C. What's your contentment level?
That's a passing grade. My contentment is probably a 6.
That's pretty good for you.
Yeah.
Great.
Pretty good.
Cool.
All
well
right.
Then, might I ask you, what is something that you like / enjoy, at least at this point in time?
Something I like / enjoy is the question of why do so many of us retreat into delusion when life gets hard?
Delusion?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
Do many people retreat into delusion?
I feel like a lot of people do.
Okay, you'll have to explain
I know
to
I
me
have.
what delusion is.
Okay. Well, I'm going to explain to you what imagination is because I think we use I think we use our imagination for delusion.
Okay.
So,
our imagination leads to delusion.
Yes, it can lead to delusion. Absolutely. So the definition I found was for imagination, and it was the faculty or action of forming new ideas or images or concepts of external objects not present to the senses.
Wow.
Right?
I think just saying your imagination means more to me than whatever you said. So pretty much something that's not, you're thinking about something that's not real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not present
really
to the senses.
Presently happening.
Yes.
Makes sense.
So a little bit about the history of this. So studies suggest that when reality becomes too harsh or overwhelming, historically, some people have chosen to create or adopt alternate versions of reality. According to a 2019 study in Frontiers in Psychology, individuals under high stress sometimes use, quote, positive illusions as coping mechanisms. These can be protective in the short term, but over time, they may prevent healthy adjustment. Another study from Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin by Taylor and Brown in 1988 found that moderate positive illusions, like slightly overestimating our abilities, can actually promote motivation and resilience.
That makes sense.
So the line between healthy imagination and harmful delusion isn't always easy to define, which is why it's important to kind of have a middle ground stance on this subject, I think.
Wow. So your stance is that like our imagination or imagining things can be beneficial, but then it can tip over into being detrimental to one's health. Yes. Yeah. And I think right now it's easier to tip over into being a little bit delusional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So imagination at its best, we'll talk about that first, is what fuels creativity, innovation, and problem solving. Research from the Journal of Creative Behavior shows that people who engage in constructive daydreaming are often better at planning and reaching their goals. However, when imagination shifts into denial of reality, it can stunt growth. So, for example, psychologist Paul Watchell, interesting last name, points out that living too long in a self-created fantasy can stop people from addressing the problems in front of them. Escapism can feel easier than facing pain, but avoidance rarely leads to healing.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
So you can use your imagination to escape pain, but it causes you to avoid healing.
Yes.
I could see that.
Yeah. And I think that everybody these days is trying to escape some sort of pain.
Totally.
We're all coping with something. But then that can lead to avoidance of the real issue, which leads into delusion. It actually makes you start to believe what you're imagining is the truth.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think as a culture today, we just don't want to face reality. We don't want to face the hard facts of who we are, our circumstances, our family, sometimes our friends, hard conversations, stuff like that. And so we'll delude ourselves into thinking, I don't know, like pick something out of a hat. Like I'm too good for that friend anyways,
Right.
or my family doesn't love me anyways. Why should I put the effort into having that hard conversation? We can actually just delve deeper into that imaginative place that could be based partly in fact. But the more that we delve into that and make that our reality, the more it leads to delusion, because that fact that you're relying on for your reality isn't fully true.
Yeah.
So I think we all live in delusion
Yeah.
in a sense,
Totally.
but there are people out there who really, really, truly have accepted delusion over reality.
Yeah.
Like flat earthers, for example. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you believe the earth's flat?
No, I do not.
You don't?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
So you're not living in delusion.
No, I'm not. Pretty sure on that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Could be living in other delusions. But that's the thing about living in delusion is you don't know that you are mostly.
What
Unless
do you
it's
think?
a willful, avoidance of like truth and reality. Like you just want to choose to believe something because that's easier. Like you want
Totally.
to choose to believe that we're in a simulation, like we're in the Matrix, rather than like have to figure out why do bad things happen to good people and things like that.
Yes.
You might not
Totally.
really believe we're in a simulation, but that's easier to believe than just being okay with the ambiguousness of not understanding everything in life.
That's a really good point.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It's covering an insecurity about knowing everything, you know? I know, several people who believe that we're in a simulation, and it's almost, I feel like it would be comforting to believe we're in a simulation because then you have the answers.
Right. You're like, oh, like I tried so hard things aren't working out for me. It's not my fault. It's because I'm in a simulation. It's not real.
Totally. Yeah. And I think in my life, delusion has been linked a lot to the victim mindset. And this isn't part of my topic, but just to jump off on this bunny trail, I really feel a lot of the delusion I lived in for a long period of time was because I was making a victim of myself.
And explain, what do you mean living in a delusion? What did that look like?
So it was like kind of what I said about the conversation, avoiding hard conversations. And it's just like, that person really doesn't love me anyways. Or, my friends aren't really there for me anyways. And so I don't really need them.
Yeah.
So living in that delusion, accepting that victim mindset enabled me to push them away and make my reality, I'm the only one who loves me, and Jesus is the only one who loves me, and that's it.
And everybody else sucks.
Everybody else sucks at loving me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was I put it on them, and I made myself the victim. And I find myself, I struggle with that a lot, the victim mindset. And I think that once you break through that victim mindset, it cuts off a lot of the delusion in our lives. I've thought quite a lot about the victim mindset recently, just writing down thoughts and things. And I think one of the healthiest things for it is just to accept responsibility in life, even for breaking off the delusion in your life. Just accept responsibility for the circumstances around you.
Yeah.
You can actually be victimized in some circumstances, but that doesn't mean you have to live like a victim.
Yeah.
Being victimized should be a place that should be something that we feel and then we move past because we're victors in Christ.
Yep.
We're victors through his blood. And so we're not going to stay in being that victim our whole lives, which enables us to break off the delusion that I feel like everybody in society is like, my job sucks because of that person, or I hate my life because of this circumstance over there. It's like, well, you're making yourself to be a victim through all of this. And if you just accepted responsibility for what you can control, it takes a lot of the power out of other people's hands, and it brings you back down to reality. It breaks off that that delusion
Right.
that life is out to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Do you find you are somebody who lives a lot in your own personal imagination?
No.
Okay.
No. Very much so not. I think I've swung pretty much not as hard as you could go the other way, but I've swung very far the other way now where I'm very grounded in what is real, what is fact,
You are
what
a
is
big
reality.
dreamer, though. Like, you have big dreams for the future.
Yes, absolutely.
But you feel like that's based in a reality of something that could be.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good point. I do have imagination and dreams when it comes to the positives of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've had to grow in. But that could become, I guess that could only become delusion if I made that my reality without it being real. Like those dreams coming true.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you dream a lot?
I do.
Yeah?
I definitely have a very active imagination. Less when I feel like I'm going about my day, but more so like I have lots of like lucid dreams. So when I'm dreaming, I'm like able to kind of control the dream. And I definitely have like I'm controlling my dreams and imagining like, what would life be if we won the lottery? This is how I would do a 6-month vacation to Europe. And I'm literally thinking through, here's the places we'd go, and we'd leave on this date and we'd come back on this date. I can kind of tend towards doing that. And which might be a little form of escapism, but it happens often when I'm like kind of dreaming or half asleep kind of an idea. Mm-hmm. But I've had a couple times in life where I've like had these reoccurring imaginations or dreams. And then I'm like, oh, like that date that I had set in my imagination dream of, we'll leave after we won the lottery, we'll leave on September 1st for our 6-month vacation.
Totally.
I'm like, it is September 8th and I am here and I am not in Paris. So that could lead to a little bit of delusion. And I could see people who do that continually throughout their day. They're imagining things that aren't truly there, could lead to a mental instability.
Yeah, because there's trauma that you try to get away from. Like, I think that people who are raised in traumatic households and things like that can lead into you just living in a delusion because it's better than reality.
Right.
It's less painful than reality. And I think that those people need help.
Yeah.
They need a lot of therapy.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I was raised in a quite stable, healthy household.
Not saying that at all.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, but I loved reading books and listening to audiobooks almost constantly. I still do to this day. I'm a bit better about not having a constant stream of information, but I think in part because I have this thirst for knowledge and I love learning things. And so I would, growing up, sit and read. These are kids' books. They're only like 100 pages long, but I would read like 3-4 books a day. And then I'm listening to audiobooks with other stories while I'm cleaning and doing my math homework and going for a walk. So I think I just loved consuming information so much that it could lead to like imagination. Your imagination, because you have to have imagination when you're reading a book to kind of contextualize and see what you're reading. That my mind just kind of always does that. So I have to be like, I don't know, aware of like turning that off.
Interesting. Yeah. So that's a way you grew up.
Yeah.
I like that.
Just because I loved consuming all that. And we didn't watch a ton of TV or movies or like video games comparative to my friends, which when you're watching TV, you're visualizing something. You don't have to imagine it. But I think listening to audiobooks and reading constantly, you have to use your imagination. And we also played a lot of pretend. Me and my brother, we would, with my friend Libby and Abby, we would play like, we're on the Underground Railroad and we're helping get slaves out, or we are on the frontier. And, we just were very active and like, there's lots of justice imagination playing,
Yeah.
We're freeing people or things like that. So I think I just use my imagination a lot in a good way, but then I need to learn how to turn it off.
Yeah. Well, you also played survival a lot.
Yes.
With like, what would I do if I had 15 beans a day or something like that?
Yes.
That was because of Little House on the Prairie though, wasn't it?
It was like Boxcar Children. It was a book series of like these 4 orphans who like ran away and how they survived. And I really was into like the Depression era, like books and stuff.
Yeah. That's why you married me. Into that depression.
So I'd have these magazines and books about like, this is, people worked in warehouses or they, survived on $1 a day. And like they'd have graphs for like eggs cost, 3 cents each and bread with this. And I would literally even write down like, this is how I'd spend my dollar if I was living in the 1940s.
I think that's awesome.
So very active imagination. Yeah. I would have survived.
Yeah, you would have.
Yeah, I would have.
That's such a unique thing, though. I've never met another person who's done that as a child.
I'm like 9 doing this.
You're writing down. You're like, I would bracket my laudanum so that I could survive the winter.
Yes, exactly. Little House on the Prairie, definitely. The Long Winter is one of the books. And it was like a really long winter that year where it snowed for like 4 or 5 months and they had to twist together hay really tight so they could use it as logs to burn in their fire. And I'd be like, this is how I do that. And I'd store this up and stuff. So I was ready for all circumstances,
For sure.
Been great if I lived, 80 years ago.
Yeah. Instead it was just imagination and a delusion.
A delusion.
Not
a
really.
A little delulu.
A little delulu. That makes it cute.
Yeah, there we go.
Mental instability delulu. All right, moving on. So some practical advice, just in closing, on ways to stay grounded in reality. So how can we improve our lives in reality while still using our imagination for its intended purpose, like surviving the winter, if you were in Little House on the Prairie? So number 1 is practical reality checks. So it's time to ask, is this belief or thought grounded in fact, or is it something I want to be true? This can be done through journaling or even asking for feedback from trusted friends. So I think social interaction is huge here. Like, you got to get out and talk to people.
Yeah.
Number 2 is to set small, real goals. So instead of imagining a whole new version of your life, start with achievable steps. Research on goal setting, something that would show clear, realistic goals that improve performance and confidence in where you want to go in your life. Number 3 is use imagination for growth, not escape. So try visualization exercises that are future oriented. Athletes, for instance, use mental imagery to practice performance. This imagination at its best is still tied to reality and action. So number 4 would be face discomfort with support. Avoiding harsh truths only makes them grow larger. So studies in resilience show that having a social support when facing reality improves mental health outcomes.
Yeah.
Number 5, the last one, is balance reflection and action. So reflection without action can lead to rumination. Imagination without grounding can lead to delusion. So find a balance by pairing every imagined idea with one concrete action you can take.
Okay, so if you are dreaming for the future, pairing that with actual steps towards getting to that future.
Yes.
Kind of an idea.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think this is the next step in achieving who you want to be, like it said earlier. But you also get those people who are like me, who are like, I want to start busking. And you're looking up amps online and you're thinking about buying all this equipment. And then you kind of start to head that direction and buy some stuff or make some steps towards it. And then you just fully stop. And I would say that's better than delusion.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But make tiny steps. I would say take tiny steps towards your goal so that you don't take these big leaps of buying an amp and then buying a guitar and getting out there on the street and having no idea what you're doing.
Big rapper.
Yes, exactly. Make it small enough that you can continue going.
I like that.
Every single day and don't, try to eat the entire meal at once.
Okay.
I was trying to hit an analogy, but I really came up dry and you didn't help at all.
I was thinking of my next point. I had that
Oh,
thought.
okay. Yeah, no, continue.
So I'm sorry that I didn't come in clutch for that
You're
analogy.
totally fine. It's not on you.
I was just thinking of some I think that the idea of people living in a delusion, we think of somebody who's they're convinced that the aliens are coming back next month and they're like, the aliens are coming and they've changed their whole life for that. I think more people live in the delusion of how their life could be different or if this happens, then my life will change. I'm thinking of a friend that I played volleyball with her in high school, and she got married, I think, at age 20. And she was like convinced that like marriage was like the highest attainment and most wonderful thing in life. Like that it was going to be like a Disney princess fairy tale, like my marriage, like my life will change. And she got married, and it was to a great guy. And she was like utterly disappointed and almost devastated because her life was mostly the same. It didn't change that much. It didn't make like everything fixed and everything happy. So I think we can live in that imagination of like, oh, when I grow up or when I do this.
Totally.
Or I think people can do that also with, and which social media and things don't help, where people be like, yeah, I'm, left my husband because I want to live my free life. Like they had to find marriage, but they had this idea like, oh, I got married too young. I didn't experience the world. Yeah. And so people convince themselves that they're not that super happy in life. They think it's because of who they're married to. And they imagine, and it's in a delusion, that, well, if I'm just with somebody else, if this is different, then everything will be all right. They blow up their marriage and their life is just kind of even worse.
Totally.
So I feel like we can, creep towards a delusion that way.
Yeah. And we need to keep ourselves grounded by, I think, having social interaction with people who have been there.
Yes.
The biggest thing for me with like becoming somebody like a videographer or a musician was getting around other people who did video and who played music and seeing how they actually acted. And I was very surprised to find out like most of the producers who I met are really normal people who are just kind of making it up as they go along. Like they have kind of a map of where they're going, but not really. And I thought these guys had it all together. I thought they were like geniuses, but really they're the same as me. It's the same normal everyday life. It's just a little bit more creative ideation. And so helping other people realize that marriage isn't the thing that's going to fulfill them would be like a high goal for a lot of other married couples. If she had reached out and wanted that help and like asked people what was going to happen when she got married. But instead we kind of choose to make these goals in the future and be like, when I hit that, I'm going to be so fulfilled.
Yes.
Oh my
Forever.
God. I can't wait to be, I can't wait to be a wife. Can't wait to be a husband. But instead that social interaction is just missing. And I think that's such a huge part of not living in delusion is talking to people.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you think about like the cults that they all think that, they're going to get on Halley's Comet and like get swept up into space to be with their God or something like that. And they like all mass end their lives together or all do these mass rituals. They were fully bought into a delusion. And that's why cults thrive is generally you're not connecting with other people who can maybe be like, oh, that's an odd thought. Maybe you don't need to end your life as Halley's Comet is going overhead to be swept up to Mars.
Totally.
So I think that delusion thrives in echo chambers, and we can even see that on social media, because social media, the technology curates to showing you what you linger on, what posts you linger on. And so you kind of think that everybody else thinks that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Social media is, that's helping so many people live in delusion. Yeah. My God. Yeah. But anyways,
keep going on.
I know. Anyways, we got to go down that rabbit hole for a while. Yeah. Anyways, I hope that's helpful for people who are struggling with delusion, or if they have issues with not living in reality. Find that balance, implement that action to your imagination, and use your imagination for the positive things
that's good.
Where you want to go in life and achieving those goals that you really want to hit. So
it's good. Yeah, you can live in reality and still dream for the future. Just what your dreams are about or your imaginations are important.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes, ma'am.
Very deep topic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think.
Good job. Hey everyone, we're popping in here real quick mid-episode to tell you about a company that we have been doing for building for the last year called Moodwave Media. You've heard us talk about it before. But yeah, Caleb, say more.
Well, it's a podcast company. We go to churches, ministries, Christian nonprofits, and we shoot video for them. We shoot promos, social content, whatever they need, and we do it all with their budget. And so if you'd like to get in contact with us to get a video shot, or if you have any content you need for your church or nonprofit, contact us at
moodwavemedia@gmail.com.
and we'll get right back with you.
All right. Back to the episode.
Next on this podcast, we like to do a section called Forbidden Books of the Bible. Ooh.
Spooky.
This section of Forbidden Books of the Bible is called the Enoch episodes, where we're going through the Book of Enoch. Christina's going to give us a quick recap on what we did last week, and then we'll move on to this week's content.
Yeah, so last week we wrapped up the Book of the Watchers, which is the first 36 chapters of the Book of Enoch. So the Book of Enoch has like 5 distinct sections in it. And the first one was the Book of the Watchers, where we learned about the judgment upon the Watchers, which were angels or angelic beings that left heaven to marry human women on earth, and their wives gave birth to giants. Pretty crazy. Enoch also explained different visions that he had about places where the souls of the dead are held until the coming judgment day, which is a big theme in the Book of Enoch, a coming judgment day, along with a holding place for wicked spiritual beings who rebelled against God. We ended the Book of the Watchers with Enoch seeing the Garden of Righteousness and a mountain temple of God, which had the tree of life and the tree of knowledge in them, which harkens back to the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, right at the beginning of the book of Genesis. So next we're going to explore the second section of the Book of Enoch, and it's titled The Parables, or the Book of Parables. And this section includes 3 individual parables, so they're like 3 different visions that Enoch had. We'll cover parable 1 this week, and that is chapters 37 through 44. And the Book of Parables is typically dated to having been written in the 1st century, likely in between like 120 to 50 BC. And this is based on historical context, and later on in the Book of Parables, there's references to events like the Maccabean Revolt, which was a historical battle that ended in 1960 BC. So that means this book can't have been written prior to that, but historians are convinced that it happened prior to the new millennium, prior to AD, after Jesus came to be on earth.
Wow.
So the rest of the Book of Enoch was very clearly not written by Enoch himself, whereas the Book of Watchers could be, but it could be a retelling of actual Enoch's teachings. So we'll kind of see.
Yeah. All right, so the first chapter.
That made sense.
It did.
Okay.
You actually brought new information to me as well, so that's nice.
You're like, write that down.
Oh, in my notes now. That's how our stuffies sound. People who listen to us as stuffies.
They're all stuffed up. We need like a cold medicine ad read.
Give us more content.
That's so
You
upsetting.
hate this. I know you hate that voice so much. All right. So chapter 37, we're going to start there. So the writer of this book claims 3 parables were imparted to him. Mm-hmm. He says, I lifted up my voice to recount them to those who dwell on earth. That's all I had for chapter 37.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you?
So it jumps in and it says that the second vision that he saw was a vision of wisdom, and this vision was given to Enoch. So it's specifying that it is Enoch, and it gives the genealogy that we see in the book of Genesis, that Enoch was the son of Jared, son of Mathiel, son of Canaan, son of Enos, son of Seth, son of Adam. Just like in the first portion of the book of Enoch. And yeah, he's pretty much, Enoch's explaining that he has been given words of wisdom from the Holy One to speak to those who are yet to come. So kind of another idea of a coming people, that's not just for the people that are around today when Enoch's writing this, but for those in the future. So he says that 3 parables were imparted to him, and he is going to now tell them to those who dwell on the earth.
Okay, so we move on to chapter 38, and this seems to be a telling of what will happen when the Lord returns, or at least that's how I interpreted it. So whoever wrote this part of Enoch says...
Let's just say it's Enoch, because that's what the book says it is.
Okay.
No.
We'll say Enoch says, "The righteous one shall appear before the eyes of the righteous. Those elect works hang up on the Lord of spirits, and light shall appear to the righteous and the elect who dwell on earth. Where then will be the dwelling of sinners, and where the resting place of those who have denied the Lord of spirits?" That's a question. It's a long run-on sentence question. So it had been good for them if they had not been born. Basically, he's saying the righteous will dwell with the Lord of spirits, and it would be better if sinners hadn't been born in the day of the Lord.
Yes, quite fascinating. I like that he's making a delineation between the Lord of spirits and the righteous one, which I'm kind of interpreting as the Lord, as in Lord God, and the righteous one as in Jesus or the Messiah to come. And I like how he says that the righteous one will appear before the eyes of the righteous and light will appear to them, which we see throughout the scripture that Jesus is like called the light of the world. In Isaiah 60, it says, "Arise and shine, for your light has come. The glory of the Lord has risen upon you." And in Matthew 4, it says, "The people living in darkness have seen a great light." So I just kind of like those connections of like the righteous one, a Messiah coming shall appear as like a light, bringing light. And then also on the converse, Enoch is saying that the sinners who have denied the Lord, it would be better for them if they had not been born. Which, what does that make you think of?
Converse is a shoe.
What are you saying?
You say on the Converse?
Conversely.
It's a new word to me. I got stuck.
Like the opposite of.
Yeah. Okay. That's what that means.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. You're asking me, what does that remind me of if they had not been born? I feel like that's on the Bible.
Yeah. So it's actually, Jesus speaks of Judas betraying him. He said, "Woe to the man who betrays the Son of Man. It would be better for him if he had not been born."
Yeah.
So I just kind of think that's interesting, where in the Book of Enoch, it's like it would have been better for sinners if they had not been born. Those who have denied the Lord specifically.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what Jesus did. I mean, Judas did. He betrayed the Lord.
Yeah.
And Jesus said it'd been better if he hadn't been born.
Jeez.
Which has always thrown me off, that verse, but that's a completely different theological thought. Yeah, so continuing on, Enoch at the end of this really long run-on question asks, where will the dwelling place of the wicked be? And he answers with, "The secrets of the righteous will be revealed and the sinners will be judged, that the godless will be driven from the presence of the Lord, and those who are kings and the mighty will perish and be given into the hands of the righteous and the holy," which we do see all throughout, the Bible, both Old and New Testament, talking about God raising up kingdoms, tearing them down. And then in Revelation, says the kings of the earth and the princes and the rich and the mighty will be judged and brought to wrath. So it's kind of, again, a foreshadowing of some day of judgment, that the wicked, even the kings and the mighty ones of the earth, will not stand.
Well, like in Revelation, it says all the kings revolt against the Lord at the end. So they'll be judged.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Okay, chapter 39. So Enoch says, "In those days, the elect and holy children will descend from on high heaven, and their seed will become one with the children of men." It also says that Enoch received the books of zeal and wrath and books of disquiet and expulsion. What do you think that means?
I literally wrote, "What does this mean?" So I don't know. It says, in the days that the elect and holy children will descend from the heavens, and their seed will become one with the children of men. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know. I thought that we didn't want the watchers, like the fallen watchers who came and married human women. That ended up bad. It created giants and judgment on the earth. So now it's saying like the holy and elect will descend from the high heavens.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you interpret seed.
Yeah.
Their seed will become one with the children of men. Seed could be like Jesus' parable when he spread seed and it grew up to be faith, something like that. But
yeah,
I don't see that this makes any sense otherwise.
Yeah, it could be maybe that kind of like heaven will come to earth. So the holy spiritual beings around God's throne, like heaven will come to earth and we'll all dwell together on earth for all eternity.
Yeah.
If that's your end times kind of view. Yeah. But I literally wrote, what does this mean?
And then the books of zeal and wrath and disquiet and expulsion.
Yeah.
I was like, shoot, I don't know what that means.
I don't know. There we go.
All right. So
Just honesty right there.
Enoch is then carried off in a whirlwind, and set down at the end of the heavens, where he sees another vision of the dwelling places of the holy and the resting places of the righteous. He says they, quote, petitioned and interceded and prayed for the children of men. He also claims to see, quote, the elect one of righteousness and faith, which I think refers to Jesus.
All right. Cool. Yeah, it's a very interesting passage. First, starting off with that a whirlwind carried him off the earth and set him down. And it said, and then he saw a vision. So it's like this whirlwind carrying him up. He's not talking about as being a vision.
It's like a real...
Right, which is interesting because as we mentioned before in the Bible, in 2 different places it says like Enoch was and then he was not.
Yeah. Do we think a tornado got him?
I don't know.
He was in a trailer park.
Not a really ancient trailer park. Yeah, and so it's kind of this idea that he was taken up into an encounter in the heavens. I'm not sure. But yeah, he sees in this vision the resting place for the righteous, and that the righteous angels are there. So pretty much the righteous dwell in heaven, kind of an idea. And that while they're in heaven, the righteous, those who have passed away, pray for the children of men. So they pray for people on earth, which is very interesting because there's not any verses in the Bible about anybody praying for people on earth other than Jesus interceding. But it's a huge belief in the Catholic Church that saints and those who have gone before you pray for those on earth. So I wonder if there's some connection to where that belief came from. Also, different apocryphal books talk about saints in heaven praying for those on earth. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that? Do you think that's...
I know that the in Revelation it talks about people calling out for justice to the Lord. So that's how I interpreted it, was they petitioned and interceded for and prayed for the children of men. Nice. It was literal intercession. Kind of like Jesus is always interceding for us. Like they joined along with him. So I don't know. Cool. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I can see that interpretation. Yeah. So continuing on, Enoch says that he saw the elect one of righteousness and that the elect one dwells under the wings of the Lord. So kind of this idea of like the Lord and the elect one being separate, the same kind of an idea of God and Jesus. And it says that the elect one will prevail in righteousness for all of his days, and the righteous before him will be forever and ever. So I kind of liked that. Yeah. Which there's a couple places in the Bible where Jesus is referred to in a messianic prophecy as the elect one. So like in Isaiah 42:1, it says, "Behold my servant who I uphold, my elect one, in whom my soul delights. Yeah. I have put my spirit upon him, and he'll bring forth justice."
That's cool. Yeah. It's a really cool connection.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool because in Isaiah it says, "My elect one, I will put my spirit on him." And then this verse in Enoch, "The elect one will dwell under the wings of the Lord of spirits."
Nice.
I don't know. So kind of some cool connections there.
Enoch also writes, "There I wish to dwell, and my spirit longed for that dwelling place." And I think this speaks to like that being heaven, if you were. And like that's the place that we belong. You know, like the innermost longing of his heart was to stay there and be there forever.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he continues on and says that this will be his portion. So like he knows that he will be there one day. And it was so wonderful. He wanted to stay there. Yeah. Yeah. And in response, he praises the Lord and blesses his name.
Yeah. Yeah. And he also writes that those who sleep not bless thee, they stand before thy glory and bless, praise, and extol, saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of spirits. He filleth the earth with his spirits." So this correlates with Isaiah 6, verse 3, where the seraphim cry out to one another. And it says, "And one called to another, and they said, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord of hosts, who the whole earth is full of his glory. And also Revelation 4, verse 8. And the 4 living creatures, each of them with 6 wings, are full of eyes all around and within. And day and night they never cease to say, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool how those connected.
Yeah, fascinating. Yeah, so Enoch says that he has seen beings around God's throne that do not sleep, but bless him day and night, saying, Holy, holy, holy is the Lord. Mm-hmm. Fascinating.
Which, by the way, reading the descriptions of the living creatures from Revelation, it gives me a lot of sympathy for the Book of Enoch, because that is just such a crazy description. I just read right there, full of eyes all around, within, day and night. They never cease to say.
Yeah.
And we're like, Enoch. No way.
Oh, that's weird. That he saw a vision.
He talks about Nephilim.
Right. And and then in the Book of Revelation, it's talking about dragons with multiple heads and crowns and
totally.
And living creatures. So
and this week you found 2 mentions of watchers in the book of Daniel.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, in the book of Daniel, chapter 4, Nebuchadnezzar is recounting a real life experience he has, and it talks about that the watchers came down and judged him.
So crazy.
And turned him into a beast. And
Wow.
it says the watchers from heaven. I don't know. Pretty
Anyways,
interesting. Side note. But I just think that's cool that Enoch saw, what's being recounted here. Beings around God's throne who did not sleep, but cried out, Holy, holy, holy. And we see that in Isaiah and Book of Revelation.
Yeah.
Moving on to chapter 40, he's continuing describing what he sees around the throne. And he says that he saw thousands of thousands and 10,000 times 10,000s, a multitude beyond number and understanding, who stood before the Lord, which is amazing. In the book of Revelation, it talks about before God's throne are thousands of people, that there's multitudes who cry out and bless the Lord's name. And continuing on, Enoch says that he saw 4 presences or 4 beings all around God's throne, that they're different from the ones who cry out, Holy, holy. And he heard them speak.
Right. He says the first presence, bless the Lord of spirits forever and ever. And the second presence, bless the elect one and the elect ones who hang upon the Lord of spirits. The third presence prayed and interceded for those who dwell on the earth, and supplicated in the name of the Lord of spirits. The fourth presence fended off the Satans. Satans is plural there, which is crazy. And forbade them to come before the Lord of spirits to accuse them who dwell on earth. So later it's revealed that Enoch it's revealed to Enoch that the first presence is Michael, the second is Raphael, the third is Gabriel, and the fourth is Phanuel, which I thought was a cool name.
Yeah, it's a new angel I've never heard of. Yeah, I think it's interesting. So Enoch is seeing these 4 angels around God's throne. One's blessing the Lord, one's blessing the elect one, which is showing that there's like 2 different, maybe God and a Messiah figure. One prays for those on earth, which is kind of a light connection to like us all having like a guardian angel or angels like helping us. I don't know. Yeah. But the 4th one I found the most interesting. The 4th angel fends off the Satans and forbids them to come before the Lord to accuse those who dwell on the earth. Which, first of all, like we think of Satan as being like the devil. Right. But Satan just means accuser. So accusers. And in the book of Job, we see
Satan comes before the Lord.
Yeah, it actually says Satans, like
no
accusers, way. Satan or Satans. It matters how it's translated. Really? Come before the Lord to accuse Job, to accuse the saints. And so in this account, it's saying that the angel is like fends off the accusers and will not let them accuse people before God.
Christina, is this biblical?
What?
Do you think this is part of the Bible?
It's obviously not a part of the Bible, but I think there's some truth in it.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
I love that connection to Job. I never made that connection until you say that.
Yeah. And also in the book of Revelation, Satan is referred to as the accuser of believers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I just said said that. I apologize.
Would you
said that.
I didn't say that.
My bad.
I did not say that.
So chapter 41. In this chapter, Enoch says, I saw all the secrets of heaven, which Humble brag. Basically, he saw how men are judged and where they live in heaven, as well as the secrets of lightning, thunder, clouds, and dew.
Yeah.
Super interesting. He also mentions how he saw the orbit of the sun and the moon and how they, quote, kept faith with each other in accordance with the oath by which they are bound together. Super interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked this chapter. It's probably one of my favorites that we've gone through.
Really?
In the Book of Parables.
Okay, tell me about
the
it.
Book of the Watchers. You can't get away from like giants. That's just real cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Enoch has seen all the secrets of heaven, and it says that he saw the mansions of the elect and the mansions of the holy. So the mansions that the righteous dwell in heaven, which is fascinating because Jesus, these are actual words of Jesus, is speaking to his disciples in John 14. And he says, "Let not your hearts be troubled, but believe in God and believe in me also." So we all know that verse, like, let not your hearts be troubled. But we don't really pay attention to the next verse, which says, "In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you so. I go to prepare a place for you." So Jesus is speaking to his disciples like, don't you know that in my Father's house there's many mansions? And if this wasn't true, I would let you know.
Yeah.
So maybe Jesus was aware of the book of, well, of course he was aware, but maybe the disciples were aware of the Book of Enoch, where it says that there's mansions for the righteous in heaven.
It's also interesting that he points out that he's going to prepare a place. It's almost like he has the authority to prepare a place there. And he's letting on that you may know this verse about the mansions because it's in the Book of Enoch, but I have the authority to go and prepare those mansions for you. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like nailing down his authority as Christ or as God.
I like that. Yeah, but just fascinating.
Yeah, super fascinating. Yeah. Nice, babe.
And then Enoch is seen, it says the chambers where like the wind and hail and snow and mist and clouds are held, which in the book of Job, Psalms, and Jeremiah, they all talk about chambers or storehouses for the weather, such as rain, snow, or hail, that the Lord has storehouses. Obviously, they didn't understand like how rain forms and cloud and condensation, all that stuff. So they're speaking maybe more like poetically of these storehouses where God has, keeps the lightning and the thunder and the clouds and the dew. And this was obviously a common thought because we see it in several verses throughout the Old Testament. Yeah. So Jewish understanding of it being, which I would understand too. Like if I didn't know how snow is made, you'd think there's just like a big trapdoor of snow.
Yeah, God's got a door up there he opens.
And blows it out.
Blows it out. Blows some snow.
And then I loved this part about the sun and the moon. Like Enoch is really big on talking about heavenly beings or the stars or the planets following their intended course, because we see in the Book of the Watchers that the angels, the watchers, left their intended course. They left what they were supposed to do and came to earth.
And typically heavenly beings are correlated to angelic beings.
Exactly. Yeah. All throughout the ancient world, not just in Judaism, stars, moons, planets, the sun were viewed as spiritual or heavenly beings that were giving off light. So he kind of pops on this now. We're talking about the sun and the moon. They go in their orbit. They don't leave their orbit. And they are bound together with an oath, which is very interesting. And they go in their path as commanded by the Lord. And it says that he sees the path of the moon and the star and the sun, and that the moon and the sun give thanks and praise to God and rest not.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's interesting because in the Revelation, it talks about the stars falling from the sky. And I'm now wondering if that's meaning the heavenly beings that are around the earth or in creation are going to come to heaven where they belong, not actually the physical stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
Maybe that's what shooting stars are. They're zipping around.
They're zipping around like finally going home. See you.
And then as we finish up this chapter, Enoch says that they follow in their intended course, the sun and the moon. And they do this in the name of the Lord, who has separated the light from the darkness, which is in verse 3 of the Bible, Genesis 1:3, that God separated the light from the darkness. So could be a call back to that.
Yeah, I love these callbacks. Chapter 41. In this chapter, Enoch says, I saw that all... Oh, sorry, we just did chapter 41.
We
My
can do
bad.
it again.
It was that good.
Yeah.
Chapter 42. So Enoch describes wisdom in this chapter. I thought this is the thing... Well, this is the thing that stood out to me. I thought it was really cool. So he describes wisdom in this chapter as a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, wisdom found no place where she might dwell. Then a dwelling place was assigned to her in the heavens. So this is similar to Proverbs.
Mm-hmm.
So where wisdom is personified as a woman calling out quite a few times.
Yes.
I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. This very short chapter, it's just 3 verses, says that wisdom could not find a place for herself to dwell on the earth among men. And so she dwells in the heavens. So like people on earth, they don't want wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I like that. Through Proverbs and Jewish traditions and poetry, wisdom is always personified as an actual woman calling out, like, hear my voice, even a spirit of wisdom crying out. And then verse 3 says that unrighteousness went forth from her chambers. So we have the antithesis to wisdom is unrighteousness, who is also described as a woman, which in the book of Proverbs, this would be kind of described as the seductive woman.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, unrighteousness went forth from her chambers, and she didn't even try to find a place to dwell, but she was sought out and dwelt on earth. And she was like rain in a desert and dew on a thirsty land.
Yeah.
So people are longing to live in unrighteousness, and wisdom cannot find a home.
Yeah. Which is, it's a little sexist for all these women to have. Wisdom is a woman, unrighteousness is a woman.
The moon was a woman.
The moon's a woman. Why can't there be a man up there?
All the watchers are men.
I want more men to be angels and wisdom to be a man. All right, moving on. So, chapter 43, Enoch is shown the, quote, names of the holy who dwell on earth and believe in the name of the Lord of spirits forever and ever. So, he gets to see them all.
I feel like you skipped most of that chapter.
I didn't skip most of the chapter. That's the only thing that stood out to me. So why don't you take us through it?
I love it. I just thought you missed it. So Enoch says that he sees lightnings in the stars of heaven, and he sees how God calls the stars of heaven each by their name. And when he calls them, they come to him, which is fascinating because in both Psalms and Isaiah, it says that God counts the number of the stars and he calls them each by name. So this idea that, again, that the stars are heavenly beings, they're spiritual beings, which the Lord has named. And then Enoch says, and I saw the names of all the holy who dwell on the earth. And it says that this is the meaning of this parable, that the names of those of the stars are the same names of the righteous who live on the earth. I'm not quite sure exactly what that means. It could be that angelic beings are a reflection of those of the righteous on earth.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But I think that's cool that it says that God calls all the stars of heaven by name. And there's a clear connection between the stars of heaven being angels.
Yeah, that's super strange. A weird connection would be, and this is way out there, but you know how we're like in the throne room and still on earth at the same time, like we're interceding with angels in heavenly places, and we're still here. Maybe that's what it is. It's like he calls us by name up there, and we're still on earth at the same time.
Yeah.
We're righteous in both places.
Right. Yeah. Or the angels take charge or take care of humans. There's that verse. It's in one of the Gospels.
Yeah. Maybe we have an assigned angel.
Yeah. With the same name. It's like, oh, that's Caleb's angel up there.
Yeah.
We'll call him Caleb's angel.
That dude needs to do a better job. I'm just kidding.
I love it. But yeah, this is a very confusing chapter. As you all are probably seeing that this section of the Book of Enoch is a little less clear cut.
Yes.
I mean, as if the last one was any more clear cut, but
well, we had a guy with us, there's Tim Alberino was putting footnotes in the book, and this part of the book has 0 footnotes.
0 footnotes.
So it's
he's
just
like,
us
you're on your own.
making connections.
Yeah. And then we end up with chapter 44, which is just 1 verse long.
Yeah.
And it said, I saw another phenomenon in regards to lightnings, how some of the stars arise and become lightnings and cannot part with their new form.
Yeah, really interesting.
Yeah, so I interpret this as Enoch's finishing up his first parable by says how he sees that some of the stars, which in the chapter before he said are angelic beings, become lightning and they cannot change back into stars
Yeah.
once they become lightning. And this just reminded me of Luke 10:18, where Jesus is speaking to his disciples and says, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So,
That's a really cool connection.
you know,
there.
Satan was a
Whoa.
angelic being, perhaps a watcher, who, you know, the angelic beings in Greek and Roman and Egyptian, Jewish understanding, ancient traditions was that they were spiritual beings.
Yeah.
So that this angel became lightning, Satan became lightning and fell from heaven.
Whoa. That would be crazy if that's what that meant. That's a really cool connection.
Yeah.
Though. Great job
it's
with
just
that.
a random verse where Jesus, he's talking to his disciples and they're like, hey, we cast out demons in your name. And he's like, yeah, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning.
Yeah.
It's just this weird aside that he kind of throws out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this last chapter is saying that stars, which are angels, some of them become lightning and they cannot change back.
Wow.
Which lightning does come to the earth, fall to the earth.
Yeah. Lightnings and thunderings are kept in the storehouse, though.
Yeah.
So maybe they're stored up somewhere.
Yeah.
Dang. Cool.
Yeah. So that's the first parable
Yeah.
from the Book of Parables in the Book of Enoch. We hope you all enjoyed our attempts and non-professional attempts at explaining this. But yeah, it's kind of a cool read. If anything, the fruit I find from it, even if this is completely, you know, made up story, there is clear connections from the writers to biblical texts.
Yes.
And even just by the mention of like many mansions prepared for you, things like that, that we don't see in other, you know, Old Testament accounts, but are quoted in the Bible, in the New Testament. I think it's just cool, if anything, to draw connections of scriptures in the Bible, not as a proof that this is inherently scriptural or inspired by the Holy Spirit, but that there is, I don't know, just makes me think of other Bible verses. And I think that's always good.
Anything that's making you dig deeper into the Bible's pretty much always good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, on this podcast, we like to do a recommend.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you recommend to these lovely stuffies? Oh, come here, please.
So disturbing. We've got to cut that.
I can't. I want to every time, but I'm not going to.
I love it.
All right. What would you recommend?
Do the dishes before bed. That is my recommend. I've probably said this at one of...
I don't think so.
Okay. We've done like 60 episodes. So I'm
Yeah.
like, sometime. Yeah. Do the dishes before you go to bed. I find it so nice to wake up in the morning and walk out and there's all these, the dishwasher has run and the dishes are clean and there's not dirty dishes in the sink. First of all, it means that there's not like caked on food laying in your sink all night. But I just find it to be a good environment, kind of hearkening back to some of your podcasts on how clutter or uncleanliness in a house affects our mental state. I think just having a good start to the day where you walk out to your kitchen and it's not a disaster can help you get in a good frame of mind. So
I love that.
do the dishes before bed.
Yeah. My recommend would be to write down what you're doing when you're working in 15-minute increments.
Okay.
This
So
may
like
only
what you've
be,
accomplished.
Yeah, or what task you've been working on. So this may only be possible for people who have like a desk job, or it can be possible other ways, but it's being more difficult. But I've been doing it the past like 3 weeks, and it's been so helpful to see where I just am not productive. Like there'll be 15-minute increments where I'm like, oh, I watched YouTube for like 15 minutes there. I didn't do anything, but like totally shirk my responsibilities. So just keep a notepad beside you, and every 15 minutes, set a little timer, or if you have a smartwatch, set it on your smartwatch and just write it down. And it's pretty illuminating where we spend our time.
Yeah.
So I think it's helpful for people to audit their work week and get rid of those things that are like stealing your life, stealing your productivity. Just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. No, I think it's always good to mark down or just keep account of what you're doing, in the sense of it shows how much wasted time, how much time we do waste in our days.
Yeah.
I had to do an assignment for a class I took this summer on the psychology of non-substance addiction. So addictions to media, to shopping, to things like that. And we had to document all the media consumption we had for 3 days. And that would be podcasts, anything on your computer, anything on a screen, reading a book, reading a magazine. And I was shocked at the amount of media that I consume in a day.
Wow.
In part because I'm doing school online, work, a lot of that's online, things like that. But yeah, we spend a lot of time consuming
Totally.
things on screens. So writing that down was like, oh, maybe I could cut back on that a little bit. I'm not going to give up my podcast, but maybe I won't check X as much.
Good for you. Awesome. Well, lastly on this podcast, we like to throw a lot of random things at Christina and see if she can remember the names of emails and companies and things like that. So let's go ahead and give that a shot.
All right.
So if you'd like to contact us with questions or topics you'd like us to discuss, you can do that at
Stuff that we like podcast@gmail.com.
That's right.
You're talking so fast.
Follow this podcast. Give it a like on Apple. You can follow Christina on Instagram at
See Joyfully.
You can follow me on Instagram at
Caleb C. Media.
That's right. Christina also has a segment that we started doing on Fridays that's called
All the stuff.
It's called Stuff You Missed.
Stuff you missed.
So close.
Our blog, our newsletter is called All the Stuff.
We came out with a newsletter. We do bi-weekly. So this week it's going to come out on Wednesdays and it's called
All the Stuff.
That's right. I do commercial videography, photography. So if you need any of that done, you can email me at calebmcastaneda@gmail.com. I also write music, and you can find that anywhere on all platforms under
Caleb Castaneda.
That's right. Lastly, we have a video and podcast company that helps showcase churches in Kansas City and the U.S. So if you'd like to get your pastor on our podcast or need video done for your church or Christian nonprofit, contact us at
moodwavemedia@gmail.com.
That's right. And that's a wrap.
That's all she wrote.
That's all she wrote.
That's all he wrote.
That's all he wrote.
That's
Thank
all you wrote, yes.
for balancing the scales. The moon was a woman. He wrote this.
The sun.
The sun is a man.
He is. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. This has been Stuff That We Like / Enjoy, at least this point in time. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.